But we're back for the second half of Shakti, the Imagination Era. I'm Jessie Haynes, partner at Shakti, and I have the privilege of, where's Bindu? You're up. It's the founder panel. I have the I just looked over there. I said, oh, there's a missing seat. I know you're here. I know she's here. I have the pleasure of having a conversation with 5 of our Shakti CEOs, portfolio company CEOs, and I'm super excited about this conversation. There are actually quite a few founders here in the audience. So before we jump in with these guys, if you are a founder, a Shakti CEO, portfolio company CEO, and you're in this room, can you just stand up? Because this is all about community and the flywheel, and I want everyone to know who you are. Yay. Do you want to just, yeah, there's, okay, can you just like wave and quickly say your name and your company? Awesome, we've been hearing a lot about that, autonomous trucking. Mitsubishi, trusted safety. Awesome. Anyone else we're missing? Oh, excellent. Great, so get to know each other, talk. The flywheel is in action. This is it. This is how it all happens, by talking at gatherings like this. All right, ready? Let's jump in. So today, it's about the Imagination Era, and these are the Imagineers. I think there's like a Disney museum right around the corner. So these are the folks that are building the future. And it's going to be really interesting to hear about what they are building and how they are building it. Because as we know, building in the age of AI looks a little different from building in past decades. So let's start by getting to know who you are. And we'll just run down the line. If you could introduce yourself by way of what it is that you are building, and also why it's going to be relevant 10 years from now. And we'll start with you, Mert.
My name is Mert. I'm from Turkey. If any of you are from Turkey, hello to you and to the rest. I'm the CEO of a company called 24/8, and we just signed a deal with DoorDash yesterday for $150,000 per year. What they're buying from us is general purpose agentic researchers. So they want to know if restaurants are on Uber Eats, if they're on Grubhub, what's on their menu, what's the name of the owner, what's the LinkedIn of the owner if they're on LinkedIn. Anything that you can find by essentially spending a lot of time Googling stuff. We build this as an API endpoint for them. This is our first pillar of 3 pillars of building a human-like AI seller. I use all 3 of those things, but what's for sale is just a researcher for now. And we're selling this to food and restaurant tech companies. And the reason why I believe this is going to be relevant in 10 years is the way we sell, just like how we do anything, is about to change with these personal assistants. I sell with a little sidekick on my side. The way I closed DoorDash was I first asked my little assistant, hey, who's the relevant people I should reach out in DoorDash? It identified 50 Northwestern and Kellogg alumni. I'm a professor at Kellogg, so those people are likely to respond to me. I met 35 of them, and one of them was the right person. The whole deal end-to-end took 2 months, which, again, for an enterprise deal like DoorDash is lightning speed. This is the kind of power we want to give to all salespeople everywhere. And that's why I think it's going to be relevant in 10 years.
Awesome. Thanks, Mert. Over to you.
Yeah, I'm Chiran. This first time in the US, so sorry, bear with my accent.
Welcome.
First couple days, first 48 hours in the US. We're so happy you're here.
So bear with my accent. I'm so adaptive. I'll be with you for 1 week, and I'll be one amongst you. That I can guarantee. So yeah, we are building this space company, last 7 decades, if you take, only 20,000 objects were sent into space. Now, like Keval said, the satellite launching costs are coming down. So now in 1 decade, 1 million satellites are going to be launched into space. So space is going to be really crowded. And people can leave their dead satellites there forever, but now the regulations are coming, forcing the satellite operators to remove their dead satellites from space. That is creating the market, and we saw that opportunity. And I was there with the space agency, Indian Space Agency, for 15 years, moved out and started this organization called Cosmoserve Space. We are building robotic spacecraft that goes to space, capture the dead satellites and remove it from space. That's what we are building.
So you might have seen the picture of what Chiran is building in that initial video. It's very, very cool. Awesome. Thank you for making the trip to be here. Masoud.
Hello, I'm Masoud. I'm founder and CEO of Studio Jadu. What we are doing at Studio Jadu is we are reinventing the way stories come to life, are distributed and monetized. What does that mean? We are doing for the movie industry what iTunes did for the music industry. If you haven't done this, go on YouTube and search for Star Wars fan fiction, and you will see a lot of content that Disney is very scared of today. But we are solving that. We are building a marketplace and a technology where creators can bring their stories to life. And if those stories are about the IP they love, they can partner with the IP owner. So Disney wouldn't be scared of their fans and want to sue them. Disney would partner with them and tap into their creative power to turn their locked IP into living IP. IP that is told in many different ways, an IP that lives and reflects the pulse of the culture around the world. Just one quick aside, I built a multi-billion-dollar business at TikTok, a brand advertising business at TikTok, by tapping into the creative power of fans to tell the stories that brands want to tell. What we are doing here now is a different version of that. And why are we going to be relevant in 10 years? Because the impulse to create is universal and will be with us for a very long time. And we are here to serve that impulse in a way that rewards the creator and the IP owner.
Great. Thanks, Masoud.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amber, and I'm the founder and CEO of NextWork. And NextWork is all about the next way of working and the skills that humanity is going to need for that. So we specialize in teaching AI skills all over the world. Why is this going to be relevant in 10 years? I think that learning and education is just kind of fundamentally changing on three really critical fronts. Frequency, Cable talks about the toothbrush. I think that education and learning used to be more like a dentist. It was expensive, no one wanted to do it, and it just kind of was really painful, Now it is like a toothbrush. The tools have changed, the needs have changed, the demand has changed, and it's worldwide. It's every country, all ages, and it hasn't been solved. The other area that's changing around education is pricing. It's expensive and it doesn't need to be. So the demands are changing. We have high school students on NextWork that are saying, hey, we're not going to universities and high schools aren't teaching us what we need to know. So what are these people going to do? We've got an aging population. We've got an increasing retired population. What are they learning? What are they going to do? The whole system is broken and fundamentally needs to change. So we're providing that solution through entirely hands-on portfolios. We believe that LinkedIn can be replaced with a skills-based and portfolio-based way of recruitment, and that it starts with a fantastic learning experience. So that's NextWork.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Bindu Reddy, and I'm the CEO of Abacus.AI. First, a quick pitch for our product. Try it out. It's called Chat LLM. We have millions of customers. You'll love it, so hopefully you'll try it. That said, I am a little contrarian. Our whole vision right now is humans need not work. And we are hoping that'll happen really quickly. And we think that's actually happening in many ways right now, right? We are beginning to start seeing developers especially have use AI mostly to get their work done. And that's what we do right now. You won't believe it. I'm myself surprised. I actually ended up doing 9 PRs yesterday. So I had not coded for a really long time, but now I'm actually writing code. But TLDR, Abacus.AI is here to automate work, automate white-collar work specifically, because we haven't done robotics yet. We have about 200 plus really large companies, including a few dozen Fortune 500s who are using us. We're still early on in the journey. Competitors, obviously, Anthropic and OpenAI, much bigger than us. But we believe in LLM optionality and AI optionality as well. So that is what you're going to bring. We're bringing to the world. All the infrastructure, all the tools, all the automation, except with all the AI. So that's who we are. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, happy to be here.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. So yes, reimagining the way we work, the way we learn, the way we create. Let's dig in a little bit to the things that you guys are doing. And I want to start with you, Amber. So NextWork's gotten quite a bit of traction. Last I checked, you had almost 200,000 learners across like 190 countries. I don't know if you've crossed that 200 mark yet. Hope soon. You, NextWork, must be learning a lot about what people are trying to learn, where they get stuck, what they give up on. So what are you learning from what you're seeing in your own product about where education is getting it wrong?
Great question. I think there's a lot of interesting learnings, like just globally, about how different countries are adopting AI that we're seeing. A reason that we actually just moved to the US from New Zealand, and part of that was because the US, the way that a lot of people in America are actually learning AI, is already building on such a heavy base of knowledge. Whereas when you look at a lot of our learners in Africa, or Philippines, Malaysia, like these sorts of countries, they're going from primarily mobile AI use, and going from like a much larger jump. So first of all, like we're noticing a lot of differences in terms of different countries and the way that they're trying to learn, and the amount of scaffolding that someone needs in America versus someone might need in Africa in terms of foundational knowledge. It doesn't actually slow down their rate of learning. It just means that you have to provide more scaffolding early on. And I think the other thing that people are missing in learning is that it's not just access to content. It really is a trust issue between society and the skills that people are learning. 1 in 4 job applications by the end of this year are AI fakes. And that poses a huge problem for recruitment. If anyone's tried to hire or recruit recently, you'll know that every resume is AI generated. Every coding application is done with a programming tool or an LLM. So how can you actually trust what skills someone has? How can you tell for sure? And I think that's part of the equation that a lot of education companies are missing when it comes to why learning will be successful, why NextWork is going to work, is because it comes down to proof of skills and how can you scale that.
Let's stay on that for just a minute. You've kind of like declared war on the resume. The NextWork pitch is that a certificate or a thing on paper is not nearly as meaningful as a portfolio of projects that you have completed, where you can literally show. And I'd love for you to tell the quick story of the person the janitor that got a job in that way. But so makes sense. But yet, like, we're still using resumes. That's a lot of the way that people are still hiring today. So how are you setting your NextWork students up for success with these portfolios? And do you really see things changing?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, we see things changing. And you can actually see the demand when you look at a hiring process. Degrees have long since, for programmers and computer science, early adopters, degrees have long since kind of gone to the side as the only proof of skills. And instead, proof of skills comes through a hiring challenge, it comes through technical take-home challenges, but that's really just like a symptom of a much larger problem. Which really is like, how can you prove what skills someone has? GitHub is probably the best portfolio site that exists because it isn't trying to grade people. It isn't trying to say, this is our badge or our stamp. It's just saying, here the work. If you're a bad programmer, your GitHub portfolio is going to look bad. So we take the same approach on NextWork, where everything is just a fantastic way to capture what you have been learning, what you have been building, and do it automatically. Because building a GitHub portfolio still takes work. And now trying to showcase your AI skills isn't just a software engineering problem, it's a every person and every industry problem. And not everyone is on GitHub, git add, git push, git commit, like that's not for everyone. It's people want something beautiful that's gonna work. So the janitor story is one of our learners ended up getting a job as a janitor and was trying to get into tech. Did a couple of big certifications, AWS, Google Cloud, all these sorts of things. Wasn't able to get in. 100 job applications, 200, 500. Ended up applying for 2,000 jobs, 0 response. The certification is well and truly buried and dead. Found NextWork on Instagram, check out our Instagram channel, and ended up doing a lot of real-world projects. Was working at a community college as this janitor, and was literally cleaning up the marketing department, and overheard a discussion about they were hiring for an IT person to help with their marketing site. Pulled out his phone, pulled up his GitHub portfolio, and started talking through his projects. They said, wow, we've never seen someone with an actual portfolio here. Do you want to come and interview tomorrow? He interviewed the next day and got the job. So that is the proof of like real evidence, real work, It's not just better for your learning, but it actually works in the workforce, and that's important, you know.
So I love that story. Okay, let's talk to Chiran. You've come all this way. You are building a thing that goes up into space and cleans out the defunct satellites. You were, and Keval talked a bit in the beginning about like S-commerce. You were working for 14 years for the very prestigious Indian Space Agency, and decided though that to do this thing, you were going to leave and start something up from scratch. Tell us a little bit about your thinking process there.
Yeah, I was a part of the global space debris community. So that is a community of 13 space agencies, including NASA, JAXA, ISRO. So every year we come together, we discuss about this problem. We see what are the technologies available to solve this problem and where are the gaps in the existing technologies. I saw that the problem is going to be really big, but the technologies are not coping up to that. Someone has to really go and do that. Why not me, is what I thought. And also in India, India is one amongst the top 4 spacefaring nations. But the share of India in the global space economy is only 2%. So then India decided that let's open space to everyone, not just ISRO do the activities, let everyone do the activities. And the mandates are clearly defined. ISRO will concentrate on R&D, research and development, and sending missions to Moon, Mars, scientific missions. And wherever there is a chance of commercialization, that the non-government entities or the private players should take care. So that is, again, a plus point for me to start something on my own, because there is a great commercial sense to what we are building. So that's how I started this journey.
Very exciting. I spent a lot of years at Google, and a lot of us have been working in the digital space. And, we launch and iterate, you can change. You are building a physical thing that has to go up into space. And I'm guessing that launch and iterate is probably not a mantra of your team. Tell us a little bit about what it's like to build in this physical world and for something that is literally going up into outer space.
Now, 3 important aspects in space. One is mass, volume, and power. So these are the 3 important constraints in space. Whatever we develop has to follow or obey these constraints, and that's one thing. And the second thing is when the rocket is going in space or going to space through the atmosphere, it will experience vibration, shock loads, vacuum, and then extreme temperatures. So when you design some systems, you have to understand that all the systems should function in all these environments, at the same time should obey mass, volume, and power constraints. So that is one thing which we all learned while we are building systems at ISRO. And another thing is, today I was traveling in Waymo first time. So really quite a good experience. So in Waymo, there are LiDARs, the laser devices, and cameras, which is giving the real-time data. But then it is also having the existing data of the roads, etc., which is not available in space. We don't know how the objects looks like in space. So when you need to collect the real-time data, but you really have to deduce that data to something and then identify that this is the object which you are looking for and go near that. That is a big challenge, and which we are trying to solve in very near future.
Yeah, very cool. Mert, when you walked into that cocktail party last night with a big smile on your face, I knew the DoorDash deal was in. It was
God.
Like, still hanging, and I could tell that you'd closed it. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Why are they going to use your product?
Well, they're using it to basically decide which restaurant is more likely to buy DoorDash's services. By the way, I just want to give a quick shout out to the greatest feeling of all time that every founder likes to feel. When the DocuSign hits, that feeling just does not go away. And that's, frankly, the motivation behind the company is to make that feeling happen more and more and more. Like, I'm basically an addict to that feeling. Like, I get the night sweats, like if no deals close in near time. But DoorDash wants this information because there's 750,000 restaurants in the United States, and it's kind of difficult to decide which 10,000 DoorDash should go after next. It's like we're giving them a crystal ball and telling them, hey, this is currently on Uber Eats and this is their POS provider. They make for a better lead for you. It's almost like putting a little star next to a particular lead to tell the reps that this is the one that they should go after. And this kind of list building is one of the core activities of what every salesperson needs to do. Right now, they use Google Maps and clicking on their computers to do this, especially for a company like DoorDash. They have a lot of field sellers. They're on the road. Their job is in a car driving to a restaurant. So the price of knowing this is the right restaurant to go after is really, really high for them. And we're going to the National Restaurant Association in 2 weeks. There's 2,000 companies in there that also sell to restaurants and bars. And my question is, can I find 5 more DoorDashes in there? I think I can.
I hope you can. I hope you can. Masoud, we saw some clips of the things that creators are making with it in Studio Jadu in the opening video. And I think there's been a lot of conversation around the tension between AI as a creative tool and AI, replacing creative work. Talk to us a little bit about how you're navigating that fine line at Studio Jadu.
So we are betting on people's creativity. The model that Studio Jadu has is we fund a creator's vision, and then we distribute and monetize it. And if it's a good one, they make money, we make money. So we do not want to create AI slop. In fact, the difficult task we have undertaken is to take away the grunt work so creators can come with an idea, turn it into a real story, but we don't want to write it for them. And then turn that into animation, but we don't want to decide all the angles of the camera, all the shot lengths. Let them decide, because that's the human feeling. And this is not just good PR, it's actually good business. So I don't know, probably all of you remember when 3D movies came out, and we all went to watch the first one. Doesn't matter what kind of garbage movie it was 3D. We wanted to watch that. By the time Avatar 3 came out, well, we went to watch it because it was Avatar, but we didn't watch 3D anymore. It didn't matter anymore. It was a story that was important for us. Unfortunately, it didn't have a good story either, so that was a complete letdown. But what I'm trying to say is, at some point, the spectacle of AI and AI images will just become, nobody goes after it. It's a human creativity and the story that we want to go after. We have been telling stories around campfires forever, but then in the past 100 years, technology took that right away from us. It was only Hollywood who could tell the stories because they had all the power, and every piece of technology made it more expensive to tell stories. We are reversing that, and we want to bring storytelling out. So this is, in fact, it's very easy to say, give me a prompt, I'll give you a video. That's easy. It's very easy to say, look, I'm going to give you all the tools, you decide what you want to do. The difficult part is right in the middle, where you want to take away the grunt work, but also keep the creativity and storytelling out. I hope some of the shows that you will see on Studio Jadu communicate that there was a human decision behind it. And we think this will be eventually, we are betting on the long term that people will go after stories, and that's what we are going to fund.
Bindu, I want to, you have built this incredible platform where you have all these AI apps that are doing the things as we've all been talking about, taking away some of that grunt work so that we can imagine. I think you have been bold in your claims that, white collar work is going to be, done by whatever, sometime in the near future. You're sitting next to Amber, who's teaching skills to people. And I think that this is an interesting, so how do we reconcile?
No, I think that's a good question. I think I said the word work, right? Work is not like a really great connotation when it comes in, when you look back. Like, people don't love to work. People love to do things they like. So I think work becomes, Elon says it, so you may have heard it, but work becomes optional. Right? And so I don't think it's about, hey, I have to go to work. It's about I have to follow my passion. That is what I think the future should be, right? And whatever that could be, your passion could be sitting on a beach. That's cool. You can go sit on a beach. Or your passion could be developing the next best, beautiful video. And you should be able to do that. I think humanity gets to that utopian state. Of course, I might be too idealistic, over the next couple of decades. So some of this is starting now, which is automating kind of what we call, grunt work, or what we call work more and more. And I think what you're doing is enabling that in some ways, right? Getting AI to do more of the work so that people can actually think, imagine, be creative, do other things, and that sort of thing. So that is what we intend to do with what we've been doing so far. I think all of you all have done this, right? Like, show of hands. Who's used AI to build a PowerPoint? Everybody. Who's here? Who's used AI to build an app? Most of you all, right? And who's automating, let's say, 20% of your work today with AI? Yeah. So you've got lots of you doing that. And that 20 will go to, who thinks it'll go to 70 by mid next year? Few, not a lot. We now have some skeptics.
For some of us, it's already there.
For some of you already there. Oh, yeah, there we go. Right? So, I'm not making this up, right? We're not like, hey, so I think this is going to happen slowly, but it doesn't mean that you're doing nothing, clearly. It means that you have, you have space to do other things. And I think we're going to also see a lot more companies. Before, we would see a lot more consolidation. So far, we've seen a lot more Googles or the few Googles and Amazons become really big. My hope is in the post-AI era, we see a lot more smaller, more successful, more creative, more original companies, which will create a really great ecosystem, I hope. We'll see.
And so as this transformation takes place, tell us, make it, how are enterprises using Abacus to refocus employees, shift the responsibilities, open up more time for other stuff?
So just to give you an idea, a lot of our companies usually spend around, or we basically charge them around $90,000 to $100,000 a year, right? Now, a few dozen companies are gone up to $400,000 a year. This is not just to say, I'm using that number just as how much AI they're applying in 4 months. This is the difference between December to now. What happened? Basically, what happened was a lot of these good models, you've seen them, Opus, GPT 5.5 have shown up, and now it's actually automating things. And what are companies doing? They're actually rushing to go off and give these tools to employees. So employees are beginning to build apps inside. That's a new big thing, right? Everybody's building their own app so that they don't need to necessarily go get their own Salesforce or even create, go buy a huge SaaS application. Instead, they're building custom applications inside the enterprise, which are really custom built for their automated process or for their process. And that's happening in a very big way across the board as a starting point. We're seeing people kind of beginning to say, here are all the things my employees are doing. I'd rather have them do this instead, so let's go automate these things. So I think we're seeing that acceleration curve in a very big way. It started with PowerPoint, docs, now it's getting to apps. The next step, we believe, is automated tasks. And all of this is hard to do correctly, because AI makes mistakes. AI is full of slop. AI gets things wrong. And we're also seeing people automating software engineering, and that's a really big deal, too. And I think it'll slowly move. And I think a lot of the companies are also thinking about how to repurpose their, employees to doing something different, doing something more, also kind of expanding their businesses.
Great. So we've talked a little bit about what these guys are building. I want to shift gears a little bit to the how, because you all are building AI native companies. You have started these companies in the past 5 years. Some of you have built companies before. And I'm guessing that the way that you're building your company today feels a little bit different from what a company that was built, I don't know, 10 years ago in 2016. So talk a little bit about how building a company in the age of AI is different from, and why it might be that even the companies that are kind of retrofitting and scrambling might have a harder time kind of catching up. And I'll open it up to the group.
I mean, I'll jump in here. The trade show coming up in 2 weeks is a good example for this. In my first company, we had 20 sales reps before we figured out how we can sell our product. In 2 weeks, I'm going to go to this trade show. There's 2,000 companies in there. They all sell to restaurants and bars, so I know there's a good chance that they can use our data. What I want to do is first, I want to know who's attending. So somebody go out there and Google the crap out of it. There's no given attendee list. All we know is the list of companies. Find the people who are likely to be there. My agent did that in a day. There's 21,000 potential attendees. Next, I want to reach out to them. But you know what I want to say is that if the company's making pasta machines, I want to say to them, hey, pasta machine company, I can send you a list of restaurants who have handmade pasta on their menu, and the ones that opened up last month and the ones that changed their menu last week. You want to see them? I got it. And I want that to be done 20,000 times. To every single person, to every single that they're selling, I want there to be a relevant email instead of saying, hey, I'm going to be at the show. Want to chat? Which I'm probably sure they're getting 50 times. But the email that I send is literally going to have, by the way, in case you're wondering, here's 20. I did it for free for you. And third, it would be, hey, let me keep everything organized. I want to update my CRM. I have not met a single sales rep in my life who said, I want to wake up this morning, boy, do I want knowing what I want to do? I want to update my Salesforce. No one said this ever in the history of all time. All of this, what I'm describing to you guys, is kept up to date in a CRM, perfectly up to date, telling me, hey, here's the next person that you should reach out to. When the DoorDash deal closed, my agent told me, hey, by the way, here's the 32 people that you spoke with that wasn't really helpful. Here's the follow-up email I would send to them. There's probably $1 million in DoorDash we can get. What do you want to do next? This is insane. My work is automated, but in the spare time that I have, I'm not sitting on my butt. I think I'm going to be able to get to $10 million in sales as a solo founder, which is insane to me. Like, this just wouldn't be possible in the past. So to me, the bar is raising. When I hire a sales rep, I'm going to give them a playbook to say, hey, do these things. And by the way, there's a person sitting next to you. Their name is Benjamin. Guess why? You'll figure it out. Their name is Benjamin. They'll help you out making a lot of Benjamins. And they'll tell you exactly what to do next. I think Jack Dorsey had this idea of, like, AI is the boss. We are the people implementing the things that AI is suggesting us to do. And I'm incorporating this in a sort of a sales-first manner. We're a sales technology company. We help serve sales teams. But this is fundamentally different. And this kind of lens in terms of output expectations is totally different than what it was before. And there's no way you can compete by hiring 100 sales reps with a company that is operating in a principled manner like this.
Whoa. Who else? Tell us about the journey of what.
I think what you just said is basically the new age company, right, which I was just describing. I think existing companies with thousands of employees are going to find it very difficult to pivot into that. And because the existing people, the problem is the people. Because they all have different roles which probably need to consolidate or like become like, more kind of important in some ways. They should have more ownership, which they don't have. So take Google. I don't know if you guys read that tweet, a week ago, where somebody from ex-Googler basically said Google is in like medieval times or things like that, right? Because they haven't like really managed to use AI coding yet. I think the startups here are going to grow faster, which we're seeing, and do better.
So I would add to that what we are hearing, exactly what you said, some of the things that we can imagine are doing the same thing 10,000 times faster and 10,000 times cheaper. And that's absolutely right, we should do that. But I would say, you also mentioned something else, that's first one. You hinted at second one, which I think is even more important, is what should we be doing differently? Not just faster, but very differently. I'll give you an example. We have artists who we are hiring to test our own system. We have a team of 10 artists in India with Bollywood credentials to their name who are now using our system to create content. But I've also been telling them, guess what, you're also product managers. And they're like, huh? I said, yeah, I know your feeling. You said, I don't want to do that, sorry, can I use the word shit? I didn't want to do that math stuff because I wanted to I went to art, now you're asking me to do that. I'm saying, no. Product management means, no, you need to help us redefine the way work gets done in your field. And we are, in fact, hiring for that. So we have changed all of our hiring. We are looking for people who can use judgment and not just do the grunt work. So a lot of the work that I do with the team is, first thing you do is don't ask for, hey, automate this thing for me, AI, is, okay, here's my ultimate goal. What is the way to go about it? And then go automate that. And by the way, the other thing is to throw AIs at each other, you know. So it's changing of the work and change. I'm going to back to what you said. A lot of this, or companies have specific roles. But guess what? Now you have new roles, and 5 of those have to be combined.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah, so you've got roles consolidating, you've got Benjamin working with everybody. What are some other things? Amber, you just moved your team from New Zealand to Austin. How are you building that team? How are you growing that team? Where does AI fit in?
Yeah, I can probably talk about it more from a product lens, like building product. It really changes a lot. So in terms of bug fixes, we talk about picking up litter in the product, which is all those little things that you want to change, the polish, the little bugs, like things that are annoying. They're not big features to ship, but that's an everyone job now. Like whether you're on marketing or community, whether you've got engineering degree or not, like everyone's pushing PRs. Last week, we only have 2 engineers. We pushed over 70 PRs. Which is a lot. And probably in the last month, we've shipped what would take an engineering team of like 5, probably 2 or 3 months. We did it in a month. So definitely the speed is changing. And the design as well, if anyone's interested in design engineering and how that's changing, I think Figma is pretty much dead because the MCP isn't keeping up with a lot of the tools that have been made for native design, where you can just click and drag and then like convert straight to React and you've got a product. So you don't have to be in the terminal anymore. You can really start to use a lot of these AI native design tools. Other things, random like fun things that we're seeing, token usage is really expensive. Our engineers, you know, when you've got a whole like group of agents that are running things, a big cost is actually understanding the English language. So when you're prompting, it's expensive to read all of the prompts. It turns out Mandarin actually has less characters than English to get the same idea across. So if you can get your agents to talk to each other in Mandarin, then you use probably like 40 to 60% less token usage. So random stuff like this just comes up. And if you want to learn how we do it, then we've got projects on it all on NextWork. We really use ourselves as trying to be an example of what is the future of working going to look like. So we you know, we're an AI skills company, and our goal is to push the boundaries of this every day.
Yeah, I'd not heard the Mandarin hack. That's interesting.
Yeah, everyone answered how it is easy operationally. Technologically, I will say something. From decades, there used to be capsules going in space and docking with each other. That's where the humans will be transferred from one capsule to the other capsule. This is all happening in space from many decades. But these two are cooperative targets, or cooperative chaser and a target, that they both communicate with each other. There are proper markers on the target so that the chaser will go and capture that or dock to that. But now what we are going to do is capturing something in space which is non-cooperative. So the non-cooperative capture in space has got multiple applications, which is only possible with AI. Without AI, it is not possible. So that is one technological advancement which we can see now, which was not possible 15 years back. And yeah, operationally, I agree with all the points here. And what we do is we used to take months to do literature survey when we start some work, and that is now being done in a half an hour time, 30 minutes time. So that advantage is there.
I'm going to open it up to questions. And how much time? How much time do we have? 3 minutes. We have
3 minutes.
Oh my gosh, 3
Somebody else
minutes.
could.
Okay. I meant to open up for questions earlier. Yes.
Yes, so I have a question. If you are a parent and you have an 18-year-old selecting some kind of education, or maybe not, what would you recommend this 18-year-old to do in order to fit in this new role?
Oh my
Build.
gosh, that's a great question. It was actually going to be my closing question, so we're going to answer it. It's not going to be my closing question because there might be some other from the audience, but I think Yes. Many
Start
parents
working
in
now.
the audience. What should our children be learning? and
I'd say
studying?
start working now. They can actually,
Build.
because, wipe code and start like building apps and start working now, right away. No need to go to college.
Agreed. Well, 100% agreed.
No college.
I mean, go for fun, optional. It's a great time. I went.
Social.
Let me be contrarian because I do have two of them actually. No, I think I think they need to go to college not to learn a topic, to learn to learn. Does that make sense? And I think they put them in any situation where they can use their judgment. Doesn't matter what. If it could be as boring as computer programming, as exciting as art. But if they can't use their judgment, they'll be useless in 5 years' time frame. Because judgment was the thing that has always been scarce, but with low leverage. If you're a person with good judgment, you used to have 50 people, 5,000 people to apply that judgment to something come out of it. Not all of those 5,000 are automated. But it doesn't mean judgment has become more abundant. It's still scarce, but has much more leverage now. So learn to apply judgment, because that's still scarce, but it will have 10,000 times more leverage.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think you need to pay like $60,000 or $100,000 to do that, though. I think that there are definitely many places to learn to use judgment. My advice is jump on NextWork and start with the problem. Like I really think that it's a problem first. Don't do a degree in biology. Do a degree in solving, like how do I want boats to be moving faster in water. Like whatever you're interested in, I think you can start with the problem and work backwards instead of starting with theory and working your way up. Don't wait 3 years to apply your knowledge. That it's been flipped. It's a much cooler world.
Other questions? Yes.
All right, I've heard in the last 24 hours both that Harvard alums and grads can't get jobs, but also it's really hard to hire for your startup. So what's really going on from a startup standpoint in hiring?
I'm going to share what I learned from Brian here, which is have a sonar on at all times and be authentically you. So this is how it applies to us. My co-founder and I are both musicians. We don't need to hire every engineer at Meta. I mean, we literally had the moment where we were reaching out to people at, the fancy tech companies when we've heard the thing, dude, your seed round is my annual comp. Like, this is not a place to compete. But if I see someone, and obviously my agent is doing all of this, if I see someone with reference to music on their LinkedIn, my email to them is like, hey, you play any instruments? People who do are like, yeah, hell yeah, you bet. What's up? I invite them to jam sessions in my house. And I can tell a lot more about whether I can work together with them or not in 15 minutes of us making jazz together than an hour-long colonoscopy interview, which is no fun for either side. So find what is authentically you. Like we have, my new friend who's a captain of the football team. Dude, play pickup soccer. And I think through someone's behavior on the field, you will learn more about whether you can work with them or not, especially in an early stage company. So have a sonar around and be as authentically you as much as possible and find the people that you can jam with. There's no competing against that, regardless of how much comp you offer to people.
But I think the question was, how is it possible that Harvard alums can't get jobs and startups can't get people, right? Is that the question? Yeah, that's because there are a lot of Harvard alums who don't really know how to use AI, actually haven't gone to NextWork. And that is part of the reasons why those people aren't getting jobs. And the people whom startups are looking for, every startup is looking for, right? They're the 10 people that everybody wants, and then you go down that route.
Because judgment is scarce, has been, and will be. Doesn't matter how many people with degrees, very few of them will have good judgment. And people want to hire people with judgment.
Yeah, for my say is, the most uncommon thing in the world today is common sense. So I think if people are applying common sense, I feel they are the right fit for us.
I think that is a beautiful note to end on. Common sense and judgment. I'm still not totally sure what I should do when my 16-year-old tells me he doesn't want to do his math homework because it's useless. But this was great. Bindu, Amber, Masoud, Chiran, Mert, you guys are amazing.
You're amazing.
So proud to have you in our Shakti portfolio. And thanks to all the Titans who are supporting them along the way. Okay, over to you, Liz.